Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion video. Now, today I am once again joined by the one, the only, the best Dragon Ball, speculator that I talk to. Also, he's in Texas. I like people who are in Texas because it's easy to talk to them. Anyway, MJ from Geekless TV. MJ, what's up, man?
Hey.
I just gave everyone your location, so everyone knows exactly where you are.
No autographs, people. No autographs. Don't come to the door. I don't want to sign no titties. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe that one. Maybe we could do that one, bro. Maybe we could do that one.
I would imagine such. Anyway, guys, we're here to talk today about. We're basically just going to be discussing why we've all seen the Future Trunks arc, Goku Black arc, whatever you want to call it. And, everything that happened in that arc, and we're just going to have to live with it as a fan base, regardless of whether you liked it or not. But I am here today with MJ to talk about the things that could have been. Yes, the things that could have been.
Yeah.
Most notably, and why you clicked on this video probably, is Goten. Goten should have been black. Goku should have been black in a very real context. So, before I get in, you know what? Let me just get into it. I'll just get into it. Anyway, personally, my thoughts in this, and obviously you would have to change it somewhat in a very interesting way, but you would have to change the context of what we got in Super, and thus, kind of erasing some of the more intimate or interesting moments that we got from that particular arc, but at the same time, expressing it in a way where it would have been really interesting and fan servicey regardless. So personally, and I'll ask MJ his thoughts on this, but you would have to basically make, instead of bringing back the Trunks that we all know and love, which a lot of people thought that they weren't doing, but instead of the Trunks that we know and love from Dragon Ball Z, it would be the future Trunks from this particular timeline. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah.
Fine, I'll keep going.
Yeah, I like it. It's I think that would have been cool. I say it all the time. Super's relying on nostalgia. I don't give a crap sometimes because I do love me some nostalgia. But other than that, to kind of step away from that for a second, it would have been cool to have them go the route of Trunks from Super's timeline in the future. I think that would have been very cool to do. I think it would have been cool to see his point of view, see him as an adult, because there's always been kind of like a gripe and a joke is that they're not aging, they're not getting taller. So it would have been cool to see them, or see Trunks anyways, before, I don't want to jump ahead, but we see Trunks in the future and see him as an adult and see his point of view on stuff, because, it would be like a terrible world, you know what I mean? It would be being destroyed, so it would be cool to see his point of view on that, because he's right now like a bratty kid, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he is bratty, but he is starting to grow up. He gave that speech to Future Trunks, so he is growing up. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he still is a very different Trunks from the Future Trunks in DBZ. So it would have been cool to see this take on Trunks, at least for my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things when you talk about basically having Goten being in essence black in the future timeline is, instead of bringing back the Trunks like we said we know and love and we all kind of remember from the original part of Z, for me, one of the cool things that we would have gotten from this is basically having a character be introduced that would then show us two characters, or somewhat then show us at least a semblance of what the future timeline of the main timeline was going to be like. Anytime we jump into like a far distant future for Dragon Ball, we have essentially we have Trunks having to interact with a destroyed timeline in which Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Videl, Goten, Chi-Chi, well, Chi-Chi's still alive, probably. Master Roshi's still alive too, but we don't necessarily get to see them. We don't get to interact with them, and there's nothing like it's just depressing. Every single time we see it, it's depressing. Even when Trunks goes back with his now like advanced power and gets the win over 17, 18, and Cell, it's still depressing because of just how much they've lost and how they're never getting anything back. And one of the things Super could have done by giving us a Goten Black instead of a Goku Black was it could have expressed an interesting thing where they go is 17 years into the future from the timeline in which we are now. So we get kind of this semblance of this is where Goku and Vegeta are, They're not necessarily the protagonists anymore. They've kind of gotten rid of they've kind of gotten rid of that concept. Goten, Trunks, Oob, Pan, and Brawl, the next generation of Saiyans and very interesting characters are at that point, even though it's a apocalyptic future, the ones who've taken over and are in power at that point, and it would just be a little bit more interesting to see that side of it instead of having to go back into a future where no one exists and, Mai has been shoved in there for whatever reason, and we see a future Bulma that dies and it's all very sad, but it's not necessarily the characters that we know. These aren't the main timeline characters. They've always been in their own little bubble. So what are your thoughts on that, man?
I agree.
Your real thoughts.
Yeah, I like that take on that. It's, when you were talking and you were kind of like painting that picture, like at least to me, I was getting the image in my head when you were talking. Man, I'm so stupid. Your commenters, your sub-based mistake, I'm dumb. But anyways, I was thinking of like, would Goku be dead in this, like Goku and Vegeta, or would you still have them around? Like, where would you have them at? Because if Trunks is kind of leading the Renaissance, where would you have Vegeta and Goku? Because remember, they could still fight until they're, 80 or 90, 80. Mm-hmm. So where would you have them at? Like, would you have Goku actually... I would have Goku dead and have Vegeta alive, but have him, like, I guess, what would be the word? Damaged. Like, maybe like missing an arm or something, or missing, like, a leg. I would have him like that. Like, internal... I don't know what the word... I can't think of the fucking word. He would be, like, severely damaged and he can't fix himself, you know what I mean? Because I would think at that time Goten Black, and if Zamasu was there with them, they would have killed the Mechians and taken out all the Dragon Balls, you know what I mean? The Super Dragon Balls and everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, interestingly enough, what I would do is I kind of have the same feeling. Honestly, if you're going to do this, you can't necessarily paint the same apocalyptic picture that we got from, just Trunks' timeline. It's all too easy to go into Trunks' timeline and for it to just be a wasteland of nothing but just kind of some huddling, scared humans and one Saiyan that was there just to kind of protect everyone. You have to express it in a realistic way. And honestly, like I said, it would give us a little chance to go beyond, or for Super to at least acknowledge to some degree at the very, very beginning of this particular arc, episode 47 as it were, and showcase that, look, we haven't necessarily forgotten what it is that y'all wanted or what it is that we established in the past. We very much remember that Bra is still a thing. We very much remember that Oob is still a thing, even though they've mentioned him in passing. We know where Goku took Oob. We knew that Oob was supposed to be this powerful person, but we also know that Goten was still training, and we know that Trunks was not necessarily still training, but we understand that these two had this friendship. We understand that Pan was going to be something of a prodigy herself, not only from what we saw at the end of Z, but also what we saw in Super. And we understand that Bra, while she still exists, she's not necessarily a fighter. She enjoys watching it, but maybe she's more like her mom. So we not only see these characters, but we get to see exactly where they are. And personally, like you said, I would definitely have had Goku killed off. I'm not necessarily sure by who. You can kind of, if Goten being at least as strong as he is at Z, which is indicated like he's still kind of strong, or at least stronger than he was at the end of the Buu arc. He has progressed.
Well, you got to remember, if you're caught off guard, you can be taken out. Like, you saw Goku in his base form in ROF get taken out by a laser when he was off guard. So Goten could, if it's Zamasu and Goten's body, or whoever this entity is that now is Goku Black in this version of the Goten Black arc, or Goku Black arc, or Future Trunks arc, whatever you want to call it, he could take out Goku if Goku was off guard. You know what I mean? But see, my picture would be similar. I would have Brawl kind of be the one who's around, like how Bulma had to come into the future. Mm-hmm. Present Bulma, I wouldn't do that. I would keep her out of the picture, and I would have Brawl take over as that place. I would still keep the same, even though it's kind of dumb, I would still keep the same subplot to where when Trunks and them are trying to leave Trunks, Brawl to go into the present with Mai, I would have Mai accidentally get taken out, and then I would have Vegeta. Goku's already dead. I would have Vegeta kind of step up and be the martyr in the first episode. Instead of, remember how 47 Bulma was killed, future Bulma? It would be Vegeta who dies, who kind of like fights off Goten for Trunks. Because remember in the Batafu arc, when we saw like Vegeta jump in front of Kid Trunks, maybe they could kind of like tie in and just show a little bit of continuity. Kind of have like Vegeta yell, "Trunks, you go, I'll stay here." And then he fights off Goten, and then that's when Vegeta kicks the bucket. Also, Yajirobe, even though I love him, I love Yajirobe, I would replace him with Oob. I would have Oob kind of do the thing where he steps in, because he might not be strong enough to fight these gods. He could still pull in and help them, help the Trunks and them whenever they need it. You know what I mean? I would have him there.
Kind of part of the. I know, because I personally think that Oob can get stronger. We did a video about that not too long ago, but I feel like I wouldn't have it be Oob. I feel like Oob would be dead the same way that Goku would. I feel like Oob would be dead.
You're so mean, dude. You're killing off Oob.
I feel like Oob would be dead just straight off. And then at the same time, like, I agree with you. I think Brawl should be in the Bulma position. Also, I would actually put her not only in just the Bulma position, but also just Bulma's position entirely, the one who perfects the time machine. And then you tie into the whole concept of, well, Bulma actually kept Future Trunks' time machine when he came back, and
which would be cool, because that would be a little nod to Toriyama's original time travel arc.
Yeah,
so it would be a little nod to that.
Instead of fully tied in. And then it would be interesting to have not only Kid Trunks and Future Trunks, who's the main timeline Trunks as we're talking about it, but if both of them learned at the same time that this had happened before, and then it becomes this inner conflict that just suggests that this is just something that's cyclical, and not so much that one person, the whole concept of Future Trunks causing Zamasu and Goku Black and all this other nonsense, like, you caused this because you went and changed the future, which set off a chain of events that led to this. It would be interesting to have more of a different timeline scenario, or I guess a timeline debacle, instead of you caused this loop of a timeline, a la the first Terminator movie type of concept, versus Terminator 2, where you can't change the future. And even if you did this in the past, like, your future self came back in the past and did this, but now you're doing it again because you can't escape this destiny for yourself. And at the same time, like, when you have Goku and Vegeta go with Trunks into the future, and then Vegeta meets Brawl, and they get this kind of a father-daughter moment that he's never had, and he finds different, like, a different entity within himself. At the same time, I feel like I would have Pan there. I
forgot about her.
I would have Pan in the future. Maybe I would put Pan in Oob's role, because we don't necessarily know how strong Pan is possibly going to be in the future. But like I've said in a previous video, I think that training with Goku is going to make Oob unbelievably strong. Possibly even at Beerus's level or something. It's not something that Goku Black or even this hypothetical Goten Black would be able to compete with. So I would have Pan there and Brawl showcasing their relationship to one another. I would have. And then the one thing that we haven't talked about, which is probably one of the things that would be interesting, the most interesting thing about all this, is the relationship between that of Goten and Trunks throughout the arc. Because if you remember, we had that really emotional episode where we got Future Trunks reconnecting and seeing just how far Gohan's come. He fulfilled his dream. He got almost everything that he wanted, and it was really nice, but it was the only kind of concept that we had. At the same time, Trunks had no connection to someone like Goku Black. First of all, Goku was not necessarily someone that Trunks admired, other than the fact that he went back in time and he knew who Goku was, and he knew how sacrificial Goku could be in that sense. But Goku was never really a huge part of Trunks' life. It's like, I'll reference a video that you did with the Gohan Black. That would have been a little bit more devastating and very interesting to see how the story would have progressed if it was Gohan Black and just looking at Trunks's a relationship with Gohan in the past. So
that was one of the selling points.
Yeah, like that's one of the selling points. You get the same thing here, where you basically look at these two who are best friends, who have fought each other, who have fused with each other. They've literally
become
one person, and having to fight each other, and just the emotional turmoil that would put on Trunks going forward, I think is something that would have actually sold this entire arc.
I'm not too sure if you are a fan of Naruto. Are you? Naruto
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I am, but I haven't necessarily watched a lot of it.
Okay, I don't want to spoil too much for you, but the whole end of the thing happened already, Naruto versus Sasuke. But there's a cool moment, and this is more on the animation team, so I'm not going to spoil who wins, but it's more on the animation, where when Naruto and Sasuke are like running towards each other, the animation skips back to when they're kids and they clash fists, and then it quickly skips back to the present where it shows them now adults clashing fists, and then like they do little quick flashes. I think it would have been really cool. I know we're kind of going back to the whole nostalgia thing, but I don't fucking care. I love nostalgia. It would be cool if, like, when Trunks and Goten squared off in their final battle, they did the clash with their elbows, and then it quickly flashed to like when they were in the tournament. And remember when they fought in the tournament in the Boo arc, and you kind of like quick there, and then they start going at it and like showing flashes. I think that would have been a cool thing, like to kind of base the beginning of their fight off to exactly how it started off in the Boo arc. I think that would have been kind of cool.
Yeah, and it would, at the same time, like, it would be really interesting to show how this progresses in the same way that. And another thing about that, I think this is the last and main selling point about this, is it would at least, from the moment that this arc would have begun, if it was Goten Black and not Goku Black, and it was the main timeline and not the future Trunks timeline that we remember from Dragon Ball Z, it would have given a lot of credence to the ending of Dragon Ball Z and the way they defined how that timeline worked. If the ending of Dragon Ball Z was essentially the timeline that future Trunks came from, Goku having left, not having seen Bulma and Vegeta for 5 years, not doing because that was considered a peaceful time. And I'm pretty sure around this time, like around episode 47, when all this started occurring, was the point where it's like, this no longer makes sense. It's been more than 5 years. I mean, obviously, there was already inconsistencies there, but it had been more than 5 years at that point. And taking it as this is the original timeline, now Super has kind of preempted that because of this whole, once again, diverting the timelines instead of not diverting the timelines. But Super has once again diverted the timelines, so now we are free to do whatever we want, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the ending of Dragon Ball Z, while Dragon Ball Z's timeline ending definitely still happened. So
okay, I see your point.
And I feel like that would have been, or given us at least some closure as fans to knowing that it doesn't matter what they said or what happened at the end of those last couple chapters or episodes of Dragon Ball Z, because this is kind of skillfully diverted the attention away from it. So I feel like that would have been interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, MJ's contribution to this whole thing. Yeah, I agree.
Hey man, I gave off some theories on my own, but
I agree. I like Bra being in the Bulma's place and getting rid of Yajirobe and all this all that other stuff. Yeah, I
love Yajirobe. He can replace Ader whenever they do the spirit bomb. You could just have Yajirobe pop out and put his hand up in the air.
That would have I mean, theoretically,
that would have been so funny.
Certain people still should have been around. I mean, it would have been cool to see something we didn't see too. It would have been cool for Goten to know about Dende or anything, and he goes and he kills Dende, or he goes and he does,
it's fucked up, man. What's Dende done to you?
Well, he needs to it's the whole the Dragon Balls, and so it would have been.
I know this, we're going off topic, but in Super, when they said they got rid of all the Dragon Balls, does that mean that Zamasu and Goku Black went to Namek 2 and killed the Namekians there?
I don't think it matters.
Okay,
but they might have. It might have. I don't think it really mattered to them, but
I think they said they got rid of all the Dragon Balls in that timeline, so I was just wondering about that.
could be. I'm not necessarily sure, but anyway, guys, unless MJ has anything left to say.
Yeah, comment down below if if they killed the Namekians. I really want to know about that.
Anyway, guys, we're gonna catch y'all in the next video. Tell us what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think that Goten Black would have been something interesting for them to do? Do you think that they relied too heavily on nostalgia just to get Goku Black in there and give us a reason to have literally a evil Goku? And was it smart enough? Was it smarter to bring back the future Trunks that we knew, or bring a future Trunks from the timeline that we didn't know into it? So just let us know all your thoughts and opinions there. And I guess we'll catch you on the next video. Please make sure to go check out MJ. Make some really awesome content, daily content actually now. So pretty awesome stuff there.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. So yeah. Anyway, guys, bye.